Hello, Shaker Heights varsity field hockey fans, and welcome into the press box here at Thomas Worthington High School. Shaker Heights taking on Mount Notre Dame for the semifinal game of the OHSAA postseason. Winner of this goes on to take on the winner of Thomas Worthington themselves, and Upper Arlington will tell you more about the game as we go along. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Vaughn Ullum on the call. Shaker Heights going to be attacking from the right side of your screen to the left. The Mount Notre Dame Cougars, the opposite, left to right. They're in their dark navy blue uniforms, their home uniforms white with that Columbia blue, as they call it, that more light blue. A shared color scheme of a school like Benedictine, a school like Beaumont. And in relation to Beaumont, this another Catholic school Mount Notre Dame. The difference is totally opposite sides of the state. Of course, Shaker Heights and a school like Beaumont, they're up in Cuyahoga County, northeast Ohio, but Mount Notre Dame as southwest as you can get in the state of Ohio. That's Hamilton County where they reside, and they're actually in that city of Cincinnati. And so we'll see. Not sure how they ended up on the same side of the bracket here in the semifinal matchup. But regardless, we will get started. Mount Notre Dame is going to start with an immediate turnover for Shaker Heights to try and take control, but still a battle for possession on the midfield stripe. Shaker Heights is Eleanor Miller getting set with it off the line, and now we're going to drop back as Shaker just wants to slow things down before we really get engrossed into this game. Shaker Heights with their fourth straight state semifinal appearance. The issue is they just haven't made the final and had their chance to take home the state championship itself. So right now, they're just trying to change the narrative. And against a school like Mount Notre Dame, where you have bested them against the two common opponents on your schedule, it's looking like it's a very real possibility for Shaker to play once again on Saturday. Fenton back about 25 yards from the goal line of Carly Sokol, the starting goalkeeper, the sophomore of Shaker Heights. And right now, Mount Notre Dame hanging on to possession. 15-minute quarters. We're already through a minute 15. Zoe Garnett and the players playing back, just trying to get possession back into their forwards. Nothing going yet. Into the corner we go. Fenton takes it out, up to Miller. Miller sends it up the center. There's a Cougar right there. But Shaker gets it back. And once again, they're going to try and drop back and slow things down before they get moving forward. But right now, they're really struggling with that. And here we go. Now with Adams. Adams trying to move it up to Charlotte Juan, just out of reach. Mount Notre Dame trying to take it back. And now another pass goes all the way past Juan. Can Miller create this turnover? Yes, indeed. Pass not picked up well by Adams, but Yakavone will recover for Shaker, and possession will be awarded that way. Along midfield, about 5 yards out, we continue to move it forward, now down the far sideline. Centering pass, Adams trying to center it into that semicircle. Of Josie Broner, the starting goalkeeper of the Cougars, a junior. Still keeping down the far sideline. 3 minutes into the game. Each squad has had some time in the attacking half of midfield, but right now, really no quality shots just yet. We'll see if Miller can keep it moving, maybe center it, and get a shot to go her way. We'll see. Under pressure is Miller. Miller sending it back. Right now it's with Fenton. And it'll go out of the goal line. And so now the Cougars are going to get their opportunity to take possession back. 11:30 left to go here in quarter number 1. Thank you very much for tuning in. Here from Thomas Worthington High School. Thomas Worthington on the other side of the bracket. The Cardinals taking on the Golden Bears just after this one. That game at 7 p.m. Right outside, a really honestly muggy day. Very gray day. Had a lot of rain coming down onto the field just before we got started. And now umbrellas are starting to come out a little bit more from the fans as well. Here's a centering feed. Here's a good chance. And it's blocked once again by a Cougar, but it's looking like we're going to get a short corner advantage. Your Shaker Heights Red Raiders. Right now, they're looking like the more heavy attacking team. Let's see if they can keep that up on the short corner. And here's the pass up in front. It goes to Yakavone. Yakavone over to Miller. Miller looking for a shot. It's blocked at first, trying to get a rebound chance. Another shot, and it'll go wide of the net. Good chance for Shaker that time. And it looks like we're going to be getting another short corner. 10 minutes left to go here in the first quarter. Of course, running clock. If you know the game of field hockey, that's always how we play it. This time, we'll pass it out to Adams. Adams to Yakavone once again. And that shot makes its way through the traffic. And Shaker takes the early lead. It's 1-0 Raiders. Good start to the game. Shaker Heights spending really 4 of those first 5 minutes in the attacking zone, and they already strike early in this one. Through the traffic, we're not exactly sure who the primary goal scorer was. All we know is it was Yakavone on the original shot, and somehow it made its way through the traffic. We're not positive of where it hit and who's going to be officially credited with the goal, but what really matters is that Shaker got the goal, and they are currently up 1-0. They are hanging on to an advantage. Sloan Fenton beat out for possession. The Cougars going to take it down the near sideline. Here it's with number 6, Fagan, looking for a chance, and then a collision here on the near side between the near hash marks and the sideline. And possession going to be kept with the Cougars. Still fighting for the possession back. Gillespie trying to get it for herself, but no. The team of Navy Blue gets it back. Looking for a centering feed. Yakavone interrupts the passing lane, but now we're going to get a short corner awarded to the away squad, and that is, of course, the Cougars going to try and keep momentum alive now that they are down by a goal. Let's see if they can tie this one up with one simple strike. 4 Raiders join Sokol into the net. And here's the corner, sent out in front. Very distanced from the net. Here's a good pass, batted down, looking for a shot. Sokol keeps in front of it, now kicks it away. Here's a secondary chance, and they celebrated at first. The referee says no goal. Shaker will clear it away, but it's still going to be a penalty corner for the Notre Dame Cougars. Here's another corner. Still 1-0. Shaker leading, even though the Cougars thought they had one for the tie. But not just yet, says the Shaker defense. Trying to clear it out, and once again, they will do just that and defend the short quarter as this one goes out of the goal line, out of bounds. That time, good defense by Fenton. Looks like it'll be kept in the possession of the Navy Blue. "25 yards out from the goal line. We get it back into play. Right now it's with number 30, Ficker. Ficker batted away from. Now here's a centering pass. They're trying to create another scoring chance, which, again, they almost did just moments ago. But now Juan trying to take matters into her own hands. It's going to be taken out of bounds off of Mount Notre Dame. Fenton to send it back into play. That pass broken up. The intended target was Gillespie. It's sent back out once again by the Cougars. Shaker's going to stick with it down the near sideline. 6:15 left to go in this first quarter of play. Already a lot of action to talk about here with only 9 minutes now going past. Shaker scoring. The Cougars thinking they scored. Referee saying no goal. So we play on at a 1-0 deficit. Trying to get it back into the center semicircle. That's out in front. Shaker trying to get another shot, try to double their lead. Right now the defense holding strong for the Cougars. Possession awarded to Mount Notre Dame, and they're just going to send this one out as they get play back in outside the semicircle. Now the squad of Cincinnati picked off by Gillespie. They're going to stick with the possession as the referee sends the whistle, makes the motion for Sloan Fenton to come up. Dribbles it around for a moment. It'll go to Miller. Miller trying to center it. Nothing yet. Possession kept with Shaker. Centering feed. Adams moving forward into the danger zone, but eventually it's taken away. And the Cougars are going to get the ball here. The Cougars, also a squad that know the state semifinals well. They have been here in this spot as well for these last 4 years. But they just like Shaker, they have not made their way to the final. So one of these teams going to punch their ticket for their first one in these last 4 trips. Past midfield, it's with the Cougars. Trying to get it through multiple bodies right in front of it. Gillespie's the one to pick it up. Tries to move it forward to Miller, out of reach. So the Cougars just trying to send it down. And it's going to be deflected out of bounds. Shaker's not going to be awarded the possession. It's still kept with the Cougars for the moment. The defense holding strong for the moment. Yakovone to Adams. Adams tries to clear it out with the help of Juan. It'll land out of bounds. Fenton to send it back in. Shaker Heights, the state champions just 10 years ago. Back in 2014, they won. They also won many years back. That was back in 1991. This one flipped way too high, and so it's going to be ruled a dangerous play. 2:50 left to go. Here in this first quarter, Shaker up by a goal. Nothing more, nothing less. Again, we had that goal that was ruled against the Cougars. They thought they had scored. The players had already started celebrating here out of the official timeout. It's going to be the Cougars sticking with it, and they are controlling the ball well in their offensive half of midfield, but now possession awarded the other way. Shaker Going to try to get something moving once again. Garnett over the head of Adams, and now up to Miller. Possession kept with Shaker. Adams, however, going to try to keep it moving quickly, and that pass strong but much out of the way from Emerson Miller. So out of bounds it goes. It's going to be with the Notre Dame Cougars. It's going to be Madden getting it back into motion. Now picked up by Miller. Emerson Miller with it about 20 yards out from the goal line. Here's a long-range send past the goal line of the starting goalkeeper, Josie Broner. And so the junior doesn't really have to make any motion towards the ball. She's staying put in her semicircle. And now we'll see if Mount Notre Dame can clear it out of danger. But right now, Shaker really pressuring them with 80 seconds left to go here in the first quarter. Eleanor Miller sends it into the semicircle. Mount Notre Dame takes it immediately out. But Miller fighting. Gets to the co-junior. Or excuse me, no, that was to Nina Yakovone. However, possession turned over. Mount Notre Dame on a rush the other way. Only a minute left to go here in the first quarter. Gillespie with the turnover. The created steal tried to move it the other way. The referee says no, thank you. The Cougars 12, 13 yards away from the midfield stripe. I'll keep it moving. That pass, will it be kept in? No, just out of the reach of number 12, Ella Jones. The senior tried to extend as far as she could, but it'll just end up getting past the line. And right now, Fenton not able to stick with it. Jones is back with it for the Cougars. Only 10 seconds left to go until Shaker is able to take a one-goal lead into the end of the quarter. Here we go up to Emerson Miller. I don't know if you want to take a hard strike or just let this one be, but it looks like they're just going to keep it along the midfield stripe, and we call this one a first quarter. So Shaker Heights scored quickly. They're only in the 6th minute. They were able to tack on the first goal of the game, and after that, no more offensive strikes to speak of. It is a 1-0 score. The Cougars thought they had a goal about at the midway point, but it was whistled down. And so we are going to step aside as each of these teams talk things over before we get set with the second quarter. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Vaughn Ullum on the call for Shaker Heights Athletics. We'll be right back for the second quarter. Hello, Shaker Heights Varsity Field Hockey fans. Welcome back in. Right now, we're up here in the press box at the Thomas Worthington High School campus. Here we are, the home of the Cardinals. However, we got the Red Raiders taking on the Cougars. And right now, as we enter into the second quarter, Shaker holds the lead over Mount Notre Dame Cougars. But still not exactly the most comfortable lead. Only 1-0 through the first 15 minutes, but we got 15 more to go until we hit halftime. And Mount Notre Dame will once again start with it. They thought they had a goal earlier on in that first quarter. It was whistled the other way. The referee said no goal. And even though Mount Notre Dame was able to get a short corner out of it, and weren't able to capitalize. And so right now we stay put at 1-0, Shaker leading. They are the home squad. They're in their white uniforms, red shorts. On the other team, it's all navy. This ball going to end up out of bounds. Shaker Heights in this semifinal contest looking for their first final appearance. In these past 4 semifinal appearances, they have not been able to get the victory and make it to that last step to win the states. So we'll see if they can at least get this semifinal victory to get them there into, again, at least runner-up position. But of course, that's not really the end goal, is it? This one out of the goal line. It's going to be kept with the Cougars. Here we go, just Shaker trying to clear it out, but it's going to be kept with Mount Notre Dame still. Right outside the semicircle, it's with Jones. Jones blocked by Sloan Fenton. And now here's a centering pass. Can they clear it out? Not just yet. Rebound chance taken away. And now possession whistled in favor of Shaker Heights. Shaker Heights entering today 14-5-2. Mount Notre Dame, on the other hand, 15-4-0. Representing the Southwest region, Shaker Northeast. Complete opposite sides of the state of Ohio. But yet here they are in this semifinal contest. The two squads representing the 2 central regions taking on each other right after this one. That one's at 7 p.m. I'm sure you can check social medias, maybe the OHSAA page itself, find out who wins that one later tonight. Because whoever wins this one will be playing the winner of that one. That game will be on Saturday, November 2nd at 1 p.m. right back here at this exact field you're looking at. 12 minutes left to go in this second quarter and first half. Cougars stick with the possession, but right now they're about 25 yards deep into their defending half of midfield. Garnett up to Yakavone. Yakavone making a good play, getting past the midfielders and into the semicircle. It'll go to Miller. Miller looking for center herself, creating the play. Will she take the shot? Not just yet. Now here's a chance by Juan, and now another chance will go wide. But still, it's going to be a penalty corner awarded over to your Red Raiders. The Red Raiders over these past 3 years taking on Thomas Worthington. Of course, this being their home, but right now, different competition. Right now, here's another short corner for Fenton to send in. And Shaker off to a good start. Of course, the 1-0 lead, 11 minutes left to go in the first quarter. And here's Fenton to send it back. Adams picks it up, sends it back. Fenton not able to pick it up. It'll go to the tip of the semicircle. Now it's brought back in. The shot goes wide to the left. And Shaker's going to back up as the Cougars are going to try and take over. $10:15 left to go in this second quarter. Thank you very much for tuning in here from the Thomas Worthington High School, about a 2-hour drive away from Shaker Heights. The weather's starting to lighten up a little bit. The sky getting a little bit lighter. The sun trying to peek out between the clouds. Just not letting it just yet. But the rain has most definitely slowed, just about stopped out here in Worthington, Ohio. Here's Fenton. Right up against those near side hash marks. Whiffs on the first pass. The second, no different. And the dangerous play is going to be given over to Mount Notre Dame. Gillespie takes it into her own possession. And the pass back misses the intended target, but Garnett will recover. Along the near side, pressured by two Cougars. Shaker going to keep possession as the referee dictates it. 9 minutes left to go. Here in the second quarter, this pass all the way down. Juan's going to get there first, winning the race. Tries to maneuver past two defenders. And Shaker will stick with it. Miller and Juan. Right up against the semicircle. Cougars get it back. Mount Notre Dame looking to punch their ticket into the final as well. They've missed it the last 3 times. Interesting thing is the seniors of both of these teams have seen nothing but runs to the state semifinals. And finally, for these seniors, one of them are finally going to get the chance to make it to the final round. Here's Mount Notre Dame, dribbling it up the side. It's going to be Ella Jones sticking with it. Keeping it up the near sideline. It's handled by Hannah Smith. Zoe Garnett takes it away. Good maneuverability with the stick. Tries to get it back into her own possession. And eventually will do just that as Ella Jones is just overworked eventually. And now a pass all the way down the side. And it's going to end up out of bounds. 7.5. We're halfway through this second quarter. This one passed up. Juan going to take it. Tries to work around the defenders. Not able to just yet as she's held up. Now she'll keep it moving. The senior really taking it into her own account. Now it's dropped back to the tip of the semicircle. And here a shot just goes wide. Once again, somehow got through the traffic. Same as the shot that worked. It just made its way through and miraculously it was into the back of the net. Less than 7 to go. Here in half number 1. 25 yards out from the goal line. Going to be Ackervone taking it. Eventually we'll find its way to Emerson Miller, trying to get to Eleanor Miller. And away it goes. 6:35 left to go. Here in quarter number 2. We drop back to Zoe Garnett. Passes it to the near side. Ella Jones hanging on to it for a moment. Miller going to try to pressure from behind. Nothing just yet. And that's going to hit the leg of number 30, Corey Ficker. And so we'll be moving to the left side of your screen once again, but actually not just yet, as Garnett takes it. Shaker slowing things down. Along the midfield stripe. Shaker sends it away. It'll be picked up by Fenton. But immediately turned over. Jones on the near side once again. She's been playing well. Working her tail off over here on the near sideline. And right now, the Cougars stick with possession. 5.5 to go in this first half. It's going to be Laura Fagan, the midfielder, to play it. Under pressure by Yakavone. Sophomore against senior. And the senior going to get possession back for Mount Notre Dame. Trying to work through Yakavone. Yakavone just saying no thank you, but once again, possession whistled against her. Mount Notre Dame, again, 6 yards out from the goal line. Held by number 6, Laura Fagan of Mount Notre Dame. Tried a little nifty move once again. Kept with Mount Notre Dame, says the referee. It's still Fagan. Just outside of the semicircle of Carly Sokol. And now this time we're going to get the play whistled down in the semicircle. It's going to be a penalty corner advantage for the Cougars. Let's see what they can do with it. They had their chance earlier, but now with just over 4 minutes to go in the first half, we'll see if they can finally cash in and tie this one up. Shaker trying their best to not let that one happen. Here's the pass out in front. Playing it outside the semicircle. Now they work it in. The referee says this one hit the foot of a Shaker defender, so they make their way back into the net, and we'll do it all over again. Another short corner for the Cougars. They are down 1-0. And here we go again. Just outside of the semicircle. Here's a long shot. Good save, Sokol. Here's a secondary chance. Almost whiffed on, and eventually it'll find its way through. And we are tied up at 1 apiece. With 3:20 to go, we're tied 1-1 your score. So Shaker's going to huddle up within their defensive semicircle. They're going to talk things over. And now they'll get right back to it. It's not Carly Sokol's fault. She was under heavy fire within that semicircle. And now we get back to it. Hang on. We have an official timeout taken to reset the clock. Right now it stands at 3:08. We get it set to 3:21. And it looks like they're just going to totally reset. Shaker takes it from the midfield stripe. Juan to do it. Off the Thomas Worthington Cardinal logo at midfield. Adams with a faulty pass. Shaker needs to drop back, and that pass goes out of bounds. Mount Notre Dame has possession. 3:05 left to go in quarter number 2 and half number 1. Shaker just trying to keep momentum on their side. They had the lead for the majority of this first half, but now they find themselves back at step 1 in a tied game. Let's see if they can cash in before halftime, or maybe either side can cash in before halftime. 2:40 left to go. Miller hanging on for the time being under pressure. Now Gillespie tries to send it into the traffic, but now Mount Notre Dame going to clear it right out of the traffic all the way past midfield. And Garnett is going to take it. She'll dribble it forward into the possession of Gillespie. Under pressure by a midfielder right in front. So now she's going to try and drop this one back, but possession given over to Mount Notre Dame by the accord of the referee. Less than 2 minutes to go now in quarter number 2. To midfield. Picked up by Adams as she's right in the lane. Up to Miller. Possession kept with Shaker. They'll keep it moving. A Cougar taken down, but Shaker's still moving it. And eventually Emerson Miller just plays it too far out in front of her. They try to move it the other way. Shaker sticking with it for the time being. Turned over, blocked. 80 seconds left to go. This one passed down. Yakovone trying to take it, and she will. She'll get a whistle to go her way. We keep it moving forward. Shaker now going to try to center it, looking for a shot. It goes past all the Cougar defenders and the Shaker forwards. So now Miller going to try to take it back. She does just that. Tries to center it. Too many Cougars right in their way. 50 seconds left to go. Can Shaker continue this strike and cash in? Right now the referee will replace the ball. We'll get it all the way back to the defender of Zoe Garnett. Whiffs on the first pass. So we move it to the far sideline. Turnover. Cougars with possession, but for only about 2 seconds. Now they try to get it back. Can they get a rush going the other way? If so, you have very little time to honestly get a strike your way. Now there's only 10 seconds left to go. From midfield, pass up. Sloan Fitton takes it back to midfield. And we're going to finish this quarter the same way we finished that first quarter. Right up against the midfield stripe, and with one goal at the end of the quarter. However, this time it was for the bad guys. The Mount Notre Dame Cougars tie this one up at 1 apiece. It's a great game so far, but it's a tense game. Neither team really comfortable in their position. Each squad with a goal. Shaker in the first quarter. Mount Notre Dame just moments ago cashing in. And we'll talk more about it when we return from this halftime break. I'll step in front of the camera and tell you all about it. Vaughn Ullum on the call here from Thomas Worthington High School. 1-1 is your score. Hello once again, Shaker Heights varsity field hockey fans. Welcome back into the press box here at Thomas Worthington High School. Shaker Heights in a deadlock with these Mount Notre Dame Cougars. Both squads getting set to take the field after their brief halftime of 5 minutes. And of course, we're going to get that 2-minute break in between the third quarter and the fourth quarter. But right now, Nina Yakovone scored in that first quarter. After that, nothing until the final moments of that second quarter and first half, where Mount Notre Dame was able to tie this one up at 1 apiece. Other than that, no real offense in between those two goals. Each team has had their chances. Each team has had their short corner opportunities. But right now, these two squads are looking even, and you never know who can get the next strike. Thank you very much for tuning in. Vaughn Ullum on the call. We'll send you right back down onto the field of Thomas Worthington. Thank you for joining. 15 minutes up on the clock as we get set for quarter number 3. And neither of these squads should really be feeling too comfortable with where they are in this game. This is a tense environment. Everyone kind of holding their breath for whatever happens next. But both head coaches, both 5-year coaches for these squads, just trying to get their players settled down, trying to get them eased into this game. And after that first half, you've seen what the other team can do, and now you just got to work it the way you have all season long and all throughout this tournament. Here's Charlotte Juan. Long-range shot ends up wide of the net. But Shaker going to get it back 25 yards out from the goal line. Here's Yakovone, the one that scored it for Shaker. Somehow got through the traffic and made its way through. That's who they officially credited it for. Not sure if it bounced off a body in front, but again, that's just who they rule it as. This one going to go out the goal line of the starting goalkeeper for Mount Notre Dame. That's Josie Broner, a junior, in goal. On the other side for Shaker, Carly Sokol, who's honestly had some great saves, but just wasn't able to protect that one from getting in. Again, it really wasn't too much of her fault. She was just really under pressure right out in front. And here's Addie Weingart to get it back into play. Here's Garnett moving it forward, but out of reach of Gillespie. And so Mount Notre Dame going to take it right back. 1-1 your score, 13:30 left to go in this third quarter. Thank you for joining us here from the Thomas Worthington High School campus, about 2 hours out from the Shaker Heights campus. Garnett goes to the far side, not able to be picked up cleanly by number 10, Eleanor Geralt, one of the captains of this squad. The other captain, Joe Rich, out of the game here today. We're told it's due to some sort of injury, but that's all we've got for you. All the same with Liz Wilson, who's been out for a long while now, remains out here for the semifinal and should be out once again for the final contest as well if Shaker makes it there. 12.5 remaining in this third quarter. Mount Notre Dame trying to work it the other way. Shaker holding him to that far sideline. And now they're a harsh strike. Makes its way all the way downfield, but the referee actually whistling it the other way. Let's see what the Cougars can do. And, well, it's not much. They take it out of the goal line on the strike. So Shaker's going to take it right back. Let's see what they do. Garnett with an elevated send into the chill air right now. And the temperature out here in Worthington, not really what it should be out on Halloween Day. 73 degrees, honestly quite warm for this time in central Ohio. Typically know much better than northeast Ohio. 11 and a half remaining in this third quarter. Mount Notre Dame trying to create a strike, which could be the best scoring chance so far of the beginning of the quarter. But right now, play blown dead, and it's going to be a penalty corner opportunity for the Cougars. Let's see if they can cash in and take their first lead of the game. Again, Shaker started out up 1-0. And it became 1-1 in the final minutes of that second quarter. Sending it out in front, trying to work around Garnett. Great defense by the sophomore, who ends up sending it away from harm. And now Miller will finish the job and just send it out of bounds, slowing this momentum down for the Cougars. Shaker taking off their equipment from the short corner, sending it behind the goal line, and now taking over some possession. Ooh, bad turnover that time. Carly Sokol going to try to kick it away. It'll hit off of a Raider right in the leg, and so the Mount Notre Dame fans wanted a corner, which they honestly very well should have. The referee just missed it that time. And so a 10-15 Shaker going to get their possession, much to the chagrin of these Mount Notre Dame fans. 1-1, we stay tied. Emerson Miller sends it up to Yakovone. Yakovone trying to work around the legs of number 30, Corey Ficker. It'll hit off of her legs. And so back to Shaker. Gillespie sends it right into the legs of another player. And now here's a pass into the front, and it'll be tipped wide from the net. Shaker has had their chances. There's no doubt about it. And right now they're attacking. Let's see if they can take their lead back. Here's a long-range shot, trying to get a rebound chance. Nothing doing just yet. And now a short corner awarded to the Raiders. Let's see what they can get done. Fenton, once again, the one to send it out in front of the semicircle. The whistle blows. And here we go. Adams to Yakovone. Yakovone takes a shot, tipped, second chance, and it's in. Shaker takes their lead back. 2-1, the Raiders lead. Miller going to be credited on the goal. She was the one to get the job done, amping up the team, as she knows that was a big goal to get out of the deadlock. Only a minute away from the halfway point of this third quarter. Good stuff from the Shaker offense. Clicking on the corner opportunity. And right now we're trying to get the clock reset, because up there it said 84.5 seconds or something like that. Now it'll say 8 minutes and 45 seconds. Just had the digits out of place. So Shaker now up by a goal once again. And the next goal, no matter who it's from, is going to be a big one. Adams sends it up to Miller. Here's a good strike. It's 3 Raiders against 2 Cougars. Continue to move it forward. Try to just tip it past Broner, the starting keeper for Mount Notre Dame. Here's another chance. Kicked away. Adams takes it back. Shot blocked and tipped away. Notre Dame going to take it back. But that rush is going to be broken up by Yakovone. And good work by the Shaker midfielders right now to really kill these drives before they even get to the defenders of the Raiders. But right now, the Cougars going to keep it moving. 7.5 left to go in this third quarter of play. Sloan Fenton going to get possession as her own. And along that far side, battle to keep it, and eventually whistled over to the Cougars. The squad of Cincinnati, again, as we mentioned, complete opposite sides of the state. These squads would really never take on each other if it wasn't for this state tournament, which, as mentioned, these two squads know this state tournament well, as they have been a part of these semifinals for the last 4 years now, this being the fourth straight year. They were also here in the semifinals, both of these squads, in 2019. Not sure how that worked in 2020. Of course, that was just a wacky year all around. 6.5 remaining in this third quarter. This one goes out the back of the goal line. Shaker's going to take the possession. Zoe Garnett on that far side. And now the far sideline, it's Geralt. Pressured, it'll go out of bounds. And now a strong pass all the way back to the defense of the Cougars. And now they just have to slow it down. Taken by Juan. Here's a good chance. And the shot whiffed on. And that'll hit the leg of Emerson Miller and go the opposite direction. Great opportunity that time for Shaker to double their lead. But no, that goal would have been a big one. It would have been the first multi-goal deficit of the game. But not just yet. Can Yakovone get it done? Moves it forward. She was the first goal scorer of the game. Eleanor Miller was the second goal scorer for Shaker, and that has allowed them to get to where we sit now, 2-1, with 5 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Catherine Adams, 25 yards out from the goal line. That hit sent down to the turf by a stick of the Cougars, and the Cougars are going to have possession. They need to get an attack brewing quickly if they don't want a trailing deficit being taken into the final quarter of action. The Cougars picked off by Yakovone. Yakovone works it up to Adams. Adams working through. And now this time it'll hit a foot of another Cougar, and another short corner coming your way for the Red Raiders. Let's see what they can do. They're up 2-1 already. Let's see if they can make it 3. Sloan Fenton to hit it back in. The whistle blows. Here we go. Adams takes a shot of her own, and my goodness, over the head of all of those Cougar defenders and even the keeper herself, but it was just too elevated and up past the net. 3:40 remaining in this third quarter. Official timeout for the moment. They're talking things over. The 15-yard line of the football field. Now they break. Yakovone is going to take it. Was going to pass it up to Eleanor Miller, but play whistle dead, and we're going to reset. Yakovone up this time to Adams. Taken away. Can the Cougars get something started the other way? Not just yet, as Gillespie keeps it with Shaker for the time being. Trying to get it centered into the semicircle, in another corner. Awarded to the Raiders. 3:20 to go in the third quarter. Just trying to strike for the third time and take the first multi-goal lead of this evening. Fenton, once again, the one to send it in. Good stuff right now from Shaker. They have been controlling in their offensive zone. And in this semicircle, if you're the goalkeeper, Josie Broner, you just have to be a little bit anxious. But right now, This time it's going to hit the foot of a Raider and be whistled the other way. Lenore Miller fighting for the possession. It's whistled against her. 2:22 to go in the third quarter. Catherine Adams working against the midfielders, and that strike going to carry it all the way out past the goal line. Wide of the net. Mount Notre Dame is going to have the ball. 2 minutes remaining. In this third quarter, it's going to be number 35, Allison Strang, one of the defenders, a sophomore, to get it back. But once again, picked up by Shaker. As that pass just gets a bit too far. Out of bounds. Possession back to the Cougars. We're into the final 100 minutes of this third quarter. Shaker up by 1. The Cougars looking to change that narrative and tie this one back up at 2 if they can. Right now, Weingart sends it away just out of reach of Emerson Miller. Here's the opportunity for this team of Navy to get something going their own way. But right now, once again, these midfielders just not letting them move through them. And let's see what happens here. The referee whistles it to the Cougars. Right to the stick of Giroux. Now to Miller. Miller goes out of the reach of Charlotte Juan. Back to the defenders. Whiffed on. Juan trying to pick it up. And that's going to be ruled as it goes in field hockey a dangerous play on the whiff. Only half a minute remaining here in the third quarter. Shaker trying to double their lead, and this one just gets through the traffic, but too slow for Broner not to get a foot on it and kick it away. 20 seconds left to go. Possession for the Cougars as this one ends up out of bounds. Here's a hard strike. Shaker going to break it up along midfield. The Cougars up the far sideline. They've only got 5 seconds to do some damage. And it looks like as this one ends up out of bounds, we're just going to let this one go as the clock hits 0 on quarter number 3. We've only got one more quarter, and man, it's going to be a tense one as we've got a 1-goal game on our hands. Shaker up 2-1, and we're going to get a 2-minute break. Everyone catch their breath, and we will be right back. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Vaughn Ullum from the Thomas Worthington High School campus. We'll be right back with the call of the fourth and final quarter of this semifinal contest. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are getting set for the fourth and final quarter of this state semifinal matchup. Shaker Heights leading this one by a goal. 2-1 is your score entering into the final 15. The winner goes on to take on the winner of Thomas Worthington and Upper Arlington. Those two squads facing off right after this one. And the next goal is going to be a big one. It's either going to mean a 2-goal lead for Shaker, or we're back to square one at a tied 2-2 game. However, Shaker starting to loosen up, starting to be a lot more comfortable into this game, and you can see it in their play. Here we go to the far side corner. Shaker attacking. There a whiff shot, but here's a good chance for Juan, taking it to the net. And we're going to get a short corner awarded quickly, only 40 seconds in to this fourth and final quarter. Sloan Fenton to strike it back into play. "14 minutes left to go in regulation. This pass goes far out to Yakovo. Now back into the semicircle, just wide. It'll eventually go out from the goal line, and we're going to get another whistle for another short corner of the Raiders. Let's see what they can do this time. The whistle blows, sent back into play. Adams the one to pick it up, or at least trying to. Here's a long-range shot, tipped, and a phenomenal save by Broner, using the stick to get it out from behind her. And my goodness, that's honestly probably one of the best saves I've ever called. In one of these field hockey games. My goodness, that's just not a save that you're going to see every day, especially here at this high school level. My goodness, keeping this a 1-goal game is Broner, the junior keeper. And so Shaker's going to have to try a little bit harder to just sneak past goal number 3. But right now, it's 2-1. They lead it. And honestly, if this goal, or if this score just stands at where it is, Shaker will move on to that final round. 12 and a half remain in the game. Here's with Eleanor Miller. Pass right to a Cougar, but eventually 2 Raiders in Juan and Adams are going to get it back. Here's a centering pass, and cleared away out of bounds. And onto the track here of Thomas Worthington High School. Shaker getting it back. It's Gillespie to get it back in motion. Here we go. Gillespie to Weingart, and Emerson Miller trying to get it back into the center of the field. Just nothing doing on a whiffed on chance. 11:40 to go. Shaker up by a goal. Winner of this goes on to the state finals of 2024. Each of these squads for the last 3 years have been trying to make their way to the finals, but each of these squads have lost in 21, 22, and 23. And this pass not going to be cleanly received by Fenton. It goes out of bounds. Here's a good chance for the squad of Navy to get something going. The squad all the way out from Cincinnati. A Catholic school of 499 girls. Shaker, on comparison, has a 2024 enrollment of 538. So not too much of a size difference there. But at the same time, the main difference, Shaker, a big public school, Mount Notre Dame, one of those Catholic schools participating in the Girls' Greater Catholic League. down there in the Cincinnati area. Here a pass. Charlotte Juan moves it up. Eleanor Miller not able to cleanly take it. Now she's actually pushed down onto the field. And the Shakers going to keep the possession. We're down to the final 10 minutes of the game. If this stays put at a 2-1 lead for Shaker, or any lead for that matter. And this time another short corner awarded to Shaker. They're going to get another chance to strike. Sloan Fenton, once again, you know it, is going to be sending it in. Shaker looking for win number 4 of the OHSAA tournament. They beat Stowe Monroe Falls 6-0. They beat Hawken 5-1. Here's a shot sent away. Here's another chance. Now to Adams. It's flipped up. It'll get past Miller with a shot, and it'll find its way through. Shaker extends their lead to 2. It's 3-1, and the Raiders are now feeling a bit more comfortable because now the Cougars have to try just that much more to get to that tying spot. Eleanor Miller, goal number 2 of the evening. Nina Yakovone with the other goal for Shaker. That was the very first goal of the game. Then the Cougars tied it up at 1-1, but now 2 unanswered for Shaker. And now Shaker already back on the attack. Miller leaves it to Miller. And Shaker's going to stick with it. Yakovone holds it just outside from the 20-yard line of the football field. Eleanor Miller trips up. However, possession is given over to the away squad of the Navy Blue. There, a long-range chance goes wide left of the net. 8:18 left to go in this 4th and final quarter of regulation. Winner goes on to the final to take on the winner of Thomas Worthington and Upper Arlington. They play at 7 o'clock right here at this same field that you're looking at right now. Those schools both representing central regions. Shaker representing Northeast. And Mount Notre Dame representing Southwest. So you really wonder what's going on Southeast and Northwest. Guess there's just not a lot of field hockey action going, and if there is, I assume they'd be represented by the central regions, if anything. But yeah, only those 4 regions really goes in a diagonal line from Cincinnati up into that Cleveland area. That's really what's represented by at least the region titles. 7:05 left to go here in the game. If the result holds where it is at a 3-1 Shaker Heights lead. Garnett hangs onto it, now dribbles it 10 yards out from the midfield stripe. Now taken forward. Gillespie centers it forward. Look into one of the Millers, maybe Juan. But it'll end up out of reach. Miller gets it back. Now here's a long range send into danger, but it's blocked out by the Cougars defense, who has been trying their best to hold off these Shaker forwards and midfielders. But right now, they came out of that halftime, and they have just really been on the attacking side. Carly Sokol starting to feel lonely over there on the left side, but I'm sure she's just satisfied with how this half has gone. 6:06 left to go until Shaker Heights can punch their ticket in to the finals. This pass between the hash marks of the football field. Shaker not able to get another shot off. And so they're going to play this one back a little bit and try to get reset. But the Cougars trying to foil their plans, and they are going to do just that as the referee whistles it into the Cougar possession. Five and a half remaining. The Cougars going to try to get a strike going because right now they've only scored one so far through the first 55 minutes of the game. And right now they need to score two in the next five. It's not a likely scenario, but we've seen crazier in the name of sports. Right now, battle for possession, really in a deadlock over there. Referee letting it play. We're really just waiting to see who's going to jar it free first. Eventually, it's going to be Mount Notre Dame, but possession whistled over to Shaker. Less than 5 minutes to go. Some energy really starting to show into these Shaker fans over here to the right side. The Mount Notre Dame fans to the left, and they are starting to get a little bit more quiet, a little bit tense, as they're realizing that in only 4:20, Shaker can really be going to the finals. Shaker's first time in the finals in 5 years. Of course, they won states 10 years ago. And then it seems like forever back when none of these players were born back in 1991. But here comes Notre Dame trying to get in their final strikes and try to get some life into their squad. This one's centered. And now taken back out. The Shaker defense holding strong for the time being. This one poked away by Garnett. The loser stick, and now the Cougars back with it. There, a good play by Adams to move it forward into the possession of Juan. And now Shaker on the quick rush. Juan, good work. This one taken over by the Cougars, but whistled to the Shaker side. 3 minutes, 20 seconds left to go. Yakavone going to play it. Eventually. And she just plays this one back to her defenders. Garnett, all the way back past the midfield stripe, moves it forward to Nina Yakavone. Works around one midfielder, keeps it moving. Here's a shot, and it's blocked. And now a short corner awarded to Shaker once more. They're not satisfied at 3-1. They want more. Shaker against Hudson. They beat them 3-1, but why not try to take down this Cincinnati school by even more if you can? Give yourself some momentum before heading into the finals, because now there's 2.5 left to go, and Shaker is in a really nice position and probably feeling pretty confident. Here's Yakavone sending it over. Here's a shot. It's tipped. A secondary chance, and it'll make its way wide and past the goal line, out of bounds. 2:05 remaining here in the game. Shaker feeling good. Their fans standing there feeling good. Up here in the press box, we're feeling good. Adams along the goal line, trying to work it back into some of the other forwards and midfielders right now. It's held up in that corner to the far side, and now we reach 90 seconds left to go. Shaker in good position. They're up by 2. 3-1 is the score. Mount Notre Dame has really not had a lot of time on the attack here in this second half. And so you'll wonder what was said to these Shaker players during halftime, because whatever it was, it had to have been some sort of motivational, because they have come out much more of a loose team, looking comfortable, and now there's a minute remaining in the fourth and final quarter. Shager looking for one last strike to just try to get one more up on the scoreboard. Here's Emerson Miller. And it's worked away out of her possession. The referee whistles it over to the Cougars, who are starting to play a lot slower, knowing that they are not in a good spot. Half a minute remaining. The Cougars on the far side. Picked up by Shaker at first, but the referee whistles it in the possession of the Cincinnati squad. 15 seconds left to go. Shaker takes possession back, and that's just really been the name of the second half. Shaker has controlled this second half, and they won this second half 2-0, and that is what has carried them into your final, as it is 3-1. Shaker Heights moves on to the finals. Nina Yakovone got the first one, then Eleanor Miller got the last two for Shaker, the two of the second half. Should I not go on camera and just keep it on them? I feel like that'd be best. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's about them. Yeah. Shaker Heights, the home squad in this one, and they deserved it. They are going to move on to the finals, something they have not done since 2019, when none of these players were even attending Shaker Heights High School yet. They were over at the middle school. But clearly this senior class and everyone from freshman and up, they have fought and they have punched their ticket. And there is one last step. And it's either going to be against Thomas Worthington, who Shaker is honestly probably sick of at this point. It's either them or it's Upper Arlington. So if you're Shaker, you're honestly probably rooting for Upper Arlington just because Thomas Worthington has continued to take down the Raiders. But at the same time, right now, it's going to be out of their control. What is in their control is what you just saw in front of you. 3-1 is your final. You're seeing Shaker Heights celebrate down there along the midfield stripe and working their way back to the bench. Shout out to the student managers as well. Eamon Fury, Braden White, Joey Moore. Shout out, of course, to the coaches. Firstly, with the assistant coaches, Jen Clark, Delia McDermott, Olivia Hamilton, and Addie Clark. But of course, from Northwestern University, the 5-year head coach, Ashley Borstein. And we'll see. We should be getting a ceremony. Right now, Thomas Worthington and their squad has entered into the stadium. Thomas Worthington actually beating Upper Arlington early on, as it was a 5-0 final. Advantage Thomas Worthington. So, honestly, if you're Upper Arlington, you're probably going into that game with a little bit of revenge on your mind as well. Of course, these two squads, as mentioned, complete opposite sides of the state. They have not played up until this point. And a beautiful game it was. All the tension of the first half, but really all the dominance of the second half from Shaker Heights, and Eleanor Miller really being the player of the game if there was one, as she was able to get those the only two goals of the second half, and those two unanswered goals. And it looks like we might not get our ceremony because all the players are actually making their way off because, again, we have another game to get ready for, as Upper Arlington and Thomas Worthington will be facing off. At 7 o'clock is their game. So, yeah, we've only got an hour and a couple minutes until they get set. So, we got to clear on out of here. Anywho, thank you, everyone, very, very much for tuning into this one. Shaker Heights winning this one in a final of 3-1. Nina Yakovone getting the first goal. Then the Mount Notre Dame Cougars did tie it up at 1-1. We went into halftime, and then it was all Shaker from that point. 2-0. Shaker won that second half, and of course, they won the game by a final of 3-1. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. We will be right back here on November 2nd. It'll be a little bit of an earlier game. It'll be at 1 p.m. We'll be back here in the Columbus area to call this game right here from this press box. Thank you very much for tuning in. Shaker moving on to the final round, and we'll see you for the call of the game. My name is Vaughn Ullum. Thank you very, very much for joining.